Hi everybody, it's Diane. I am working on the Holly Hobbie journals today. I'm actually kind of working on all four covers. I already had this cover done. So yesterday I did a video where I decorated the cover and punched the holes in the covers and the pages. So now we're going to bind it. This is the Zutter Bind It All. I talked about that some more in yesterday's video. And you can get it from Amazon. You can get it from the Zutter company also. If you just Google Zutter.com, you'll find it. When I purchased this years ago, I had gotten quite an assortment of colors and sizes of the O wires. They're called O wires because they form an O, or pretty close to an O, after they're pressed together. So they come in a lot of different sizes, and so I got these. This is what I have left of what I purchased with the Zutter. These are 1/2 inch, and I have them in red and black, and there's one brass one here, a little piece of it left. But obviously I don't use the 1/2 inch size very often. I use the 1 inch side almost exclusively. So this is the 1 inch size. I have purchased twice from Amazon large quantities of white, black, and silver 1 inch O wires, and they came in a bulk package, so not all together. I had to order each color separately, so it made it a much better price. I think it's a little harder to do that now. Maybe the seller I purchased these from doesn't sell them anymore, I don't know, but I still have some of each color left. So this is the 1 inch. Obviously this is too long for this, so I have to cut it. I believe I have 13 holes. Yes, 13 holes. So I need to cut this. So I have 13 of these wire pieces. My Zutter came with this pretty pink wire cutter in its own pretty pink little pouch. This doesn't work very well. My husband gave me this one. So this is what I use. I don't know why I keep the pink one, but I have it. So that's 13 right there, and I'm going to cut the wire right here at the end of the 13th prong, I'll call it. So there we go. Now, to put the pages in the wire, I first will flip my back cover onto the front. That way the seam, so to speak, of the wire will be on the inside and not on the outside. So this is how we start. And I haven't done it in so long, I have to try to remember how I do it. Let's put that on. I don't know, I'm trying to, I thought I had to flip them over onto the wire. Must be this is how I do it. Is that gonna work? Why am I not remembering? It's been so long since I've done a Bind It All journal. Yes, this is how I do it. So I have the prong side over here on the left. This is the skinnier loop, and this is the fatter loop. I called it the prong because it fits through the holes. Okay, so I have them over there on the left, and I'm just flipping my pages over onto the prongs. This may take a while because I have a lot of pages here. I believe, oh, I counted them yesterday and I don't remember now. Something like 38, 39 pages. If you had all the same size, you could kind of stack them up and try to fit as many onto the prong at one time as you can, but since mine are all different sizes and I want to vary where they fall, I want to do them by hand. I coffee dyed my papers yesterday, last evening. I didn't, whoops, that one got missed. So let me tell you how that happens. You saw yesterday, I punched the first set of holes, and then you're supposed to put it in, well actually this one I didn't, well anyway, let me tell you. If you have to put it in the 5th hole to move forward. If you put it in the 6th hole, you end up with this space. So that's what I must have done. So I'm just going to put it in and get my missing hole. I did it on that one too. I have these little cards. I don't want to put them all in the same spot. If you spread them out, it makes it less bulky. So the other one I think was up higher, so I put this one down lower. I have 4 cards, playing cards, spaced throughout the book, plus some of these little note cards. I'll put this one in the middle. We're getting there. Enjoy the look at the pretty Holly Hobbie images while you watch. There's a piece of wrapping paper. Okay, they're all on there now. Now I just have to close the hole. So again, we go to this. Where I punch the holes in this channel, I'm going to close the wires with this. This is another piece that comes with the Bind It All, and it has measurements on it. I'm using 1-inch wires, so I take the 1-inch card. There's also a setting right down here with markings. So you adjust it with this, and it's a little dusty. I have it set at the 1-inch mark, but I always use this too, just to make sure. And I almost always use 1 inch, but I'm always afraid that this got moved, and I want to make sure that it's set right. So it has to be set. I moved it now to just demonstrate. It has to be set so that this card will fit in there and move out easily. Let me just move it in one knot and see. I think that's pretty good. All right, now I'm going to stand up to do this so I can see what I'm doing. So I have this channel here, and my book, my pages in the wires. So there is a little bit of an indentation right here. You want to set your pages down into that as much as possible. This is pretty thick, so they don't all fit down in that channel, but it helps to center it. And then I want to put, you can fit I think 5 of the wires in at a time. You do not want to have 1 or 2. You want to have at least 3 wires within the space that's going to be pressed. So I have 4 in there. And this one over here is not going to be pressed because it's not within that space. So I will center my pages and kind of press down on them slightly, not firmly, but slightly, and gently but firmly squeeze the lever down. And those are the wires. Now I will move it forward. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 left, so I'm just going to continue with putting in 4 at a time. Hopefully, I know it might be hard for you to see, but I need to see what I'm doing. So there we have it. So as you can see, the seam is right here. There's this little piece that I cut off. I could cut a little more off of that so it's not quite so big, so long. And this is on the inside. So when you flip the book closed, the outside doesn't have that seam. I'm going to get this stuff out of my way. Okay, so another thing you need to know about these is when you get to the end of the book, if you're flipping through the book, you can't just close the back cover because of this. You have to flip it forward to close it. So this journal, I'll do some more embellishing inside it a little bit. I didn't want to do too much. Oh, sorry. I didn't want to do too much in it, and I've done some, but we'll do some more of that. I'll do some more of that before I put it in my shop, but it's pretty much done. So moving on, I worked on this cover today. As you can see, I created the spine as I normally do with a piece of chipboard Tyvek fabric. I added some rickrack. I put some book corners on because these lower corners were quite soft. I put some pretty paper on the inside. And now I need to do something to cover that up and just kind of embellish the cover a little. So I selected some pieces already. I cut apart the Holly Hobbie doll dress that I had, and it had already been washed. So after I cut it apart, I ironed all of the pieces so they're ready for me to do whatever I want with. So to cover up this bright pink library sticker, I'm going to put this brown calico on there, and then I'm going to put this is a little piece of the sleeve ruffle, but because I just want to glue it down so that it's not glued down completely, I want to put this underneath it so that this will stay covered. And I might wrap it around the bottom. Let's see, because I'm going to wrap this around. Yeah, might as well. This is a patchworky kind of book. So I'll put some Fabri-Tac glue on here. I was going to refill my bottle before I turned the camera on, but I didn't. Okay. This was just a piece of calico that I had. It didn't come from a doll dress or the other fabric that I'm making a journal cover out of, which I got a head start on that too, so I'll show that to you before we're done here. So the brown doesn't show very much, but it's there. If you flip this up, you would see it. And when you turn this over, you see it there. And now just for decoration, I wanted to add this piece. This is from the doll dress. So is this. I think I said that's the sleeve ruffle part of it. And I believe this part is from the bodice. Oh, yeah. Thought I wanted to put the lace underneath it, but I didn't. So I have this piece of vintage lace that I'm going to add, and then I'm going to put on this yo-yo. That's all I'm going to do for now. I don't know if I'll do anything else. I don't know if I'll do anything to the back, but I knew I wanted to do that much to the front. I don't have my pages cut yet. All I've done is pull the pattern paper and copy dyed it. I don't even have any of the other papers pulled, except I did have some like book pages that I had pulled, but I don't know where they are now, so I'll have to find them. But alright, so there's that book cover. Now I will show you what I've done in preparation for the fabric cover. I'm not going to do that right here and now because I'm not at my sewing machine, but I took a piece of cardstock. Oh, better go back out again. And I just scored a 1/2 inch in the center, and I was actually off by 1/8 of an inch. I messed up, so instead of starting over again, I just cut 1/8 of an inch off the longer edge. So that's going to be the base, and I have a piece of this cotton quilt batting that I will adhere to it. I can do that part right now. So I'm just going to put a little glue on the cardstock and then lay this on it. And I'll have to trim a little bit off. And then I have my piece of fabric that I cut larger all the way around than the cardstock. So I will end up gluing and sewing this part on. And I'll fold the sides in, all the excess in, so it will be a nice smooth cover. And I will put some fabric on the inside. I don't know which one, but I have several that will work. So let's say this is all done in here, and I love this one. I think this is probably what I'm going to go with. It matches that teal color so well, but I also have this color and this color, but I think I'm just going to take that one because I really liked the way that looked when I tried it out on there. So I will end up cutting that just slightly smaller than the cardstock, so that it will be like an end paper. You'll be able to see the edge of this all the way around. And then I had talked about putting on one of the postcards that I have on the front, but instead of that, I cut this image out of one of the books that I have, and I glued her to a blue cardstock and then cut it out again. And she's going to go on the front. I thought she looked nice because she has the patchwork apron, and then there's patchwork behind her. And I put her on the blue cardstock to help her stand out from the fabric. So that's where we are with the fabric cover. And so now what I'm going to do is the fourth cover, which is the one where we're going to have Mod Podge gift wrap So I didn't get my Mod Podge ready, but it's right behind me. I'm just going to grab a cup to put it in. A sponge to brush it with. Let me grab my Mod Podge. Ooh, and I can open it. That didn't even take any effort. And I'll just pour some Mod Podge in my cup. I get lots of questions about diluting Mod Podge. So yes, I do dilute it, especially if I'm doing napkins or something thin like this gift wrap. So I am not going to leave my room to go put water in it, so I have my little squirt bottle. I'm just going to pour. You can see I don't measure, but I have some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to pour a little bit of water in there. I don't put a lot in, but it helps it spread easier and it makes it go a little bit further. I'm looking for my stir sticks. There they are. And you don't need the thick Mod Podge on a thin paper. This is not like, that's my cover. I already have my spine cut, but I'm not going to put that on right now. So, first thing I have to do is make sure, I suppose it doesn't matter with these covers, but I want to make sure that the, like which, they could go this way, but I want to make sure that the raw edge is toward the inside. But because that's that way in the book, I know that that's the right side up, and that's the right side up. And I cut some wrapping paper. I positioned this one so that this couple of girls here would be pretty much in the center. And on the back side, I didn't really try to center anything, but it is full of images, so it's not like there's going to be blank spaces in there. So this one goes on the front. Maybe I could possibly cut out a frame or something to put around those girls, but I don't know. Right now we're just going to Mod Podge. Once I get my covers all set, then I can concentrate on doing pages one at a time for each book, because each book has different size. So it's easier if I do one at a time. But I thought I'd get the covers out of the way. For one thing, I want to make sure that I have the materials I want for the covers, like the fabric for the fabric cover, and the gift wrap portion that I wanted. And that way I'll feel free to use the other pieces, the other gift wrap and fabrics and whatnot inside the book, and I won't have to worry about, do I need to keep this for a cover? I want to make sure this is centered on the gift wrap, so I'll do it this way. I really don't need to wrap it around this side because it's going to have the binding here, so I might just cut this part off. Didn't leave much at the bottom. There's more at the top. But there's enough. That's good. I am going to cut that one end off that I don't need right now. That's plenty to fold over there. That's the raw edge and that's the raw edge. So this is the front, this is the back. Making sure I'm doing it all right. You can see the green is showing through there. I wonder if I should have painted the book white behind them, but too late now, so we'll see how it turns out. And I'll have to let this dry before I fold the other ends over. So I will probably do that off camera. So now all I have to do is let this dry before I fold the ends over, edges. And I hope that it doesn't get too dark, like the book cover showing through too dark, but let's just see how it turns out. So I think that's all we're going to do right now. I don't have anything else prepared. So thank you for watching, and I'll be back with some more Holly Hobbie. Have a creative day today. Bye-bye.